Hi everyone and welcome to this video where we're going to take a look at the official examiner's marking guide to a standards check. Now, if you don't know about this, there's a document called ADI1 and it's a document issued to examiners to tell them how they should be marking standards checks, and it's an official DVSA issued guide. So I'm going to go through this in great detail. There are 30 pages that I'm going to go through. In fact, I'll show you now. This is a version I printed off. Now, you can easily download this yourself online. You can go and read through it, but the thing is, it's so easy to miss some important information. It's chapter 4 of ADI1, and it's going to take quite a while to read through this, so I'm going to get started straight away. Let's get straight into it. And bear in mind that I have actually done a standards check myself, because at the moment only about half of all instructors have actually taken a standards check. I did mine a few days ago, so I do know what I'm talking about, and I'm going to use my experience of that to help talk you through this. So loads and loads of useful information. If you've got a standards check coming up, this is going to be like gold dust. So it's going to be a long video, probably about an hour or two in length. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so this is chapter 4, the test of continued ability to instruct, in brackets, standards check. So skills, knowledge and understanding required. Now these first few pages, about the first 12 pages, it just kind of sets the scene and tells you what a standards check's all about. So I will get into the more kind of meaty topics from about page, I think it's page 72 onwards. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, so from page 72 onwards it gets a bit more kind of, the main meat and bones of what you want to hear. So what I'll do is below this video, I'll put a link to how long it is, to the time when I'll start talking about the main things. So if you want to skip straight through to that, you can. However, I do recommend you listen to all of this, because there's lots and lots of important information. So it says, the Driving Standards Agency, and in brackets DVSA. So it's a great start, isn't it? Because already in the first sentence, they've got their own name wrong. But if you look at the bottom, it does say, it now forms part of the DVSA. So, well, yeah, let them off with that. So, the Driving Standards Agency, DVSA, published the National Standard for Driver and Rider Training, NSDRT, in 2011, setting out the skills, knowledge and understanding that you need to be an effective trainer. So all this means is simply there's a thing called the NSDRT. That's a separate document I'll put a link to below. It's quite a short document compared to this, but it sets out the standards of what should be done when it comes to driver training. And I don't just mean things like you've got to do manoeuvres and you've got to do this and that. It tells you more like, in some ways, a psychological thing you should be teaching people, the skills people need, not just how to do a manoeuvre, but what they should be able to do, how they should be able to drive when they go to take a driving test. So a very useful document now. If you haven't already seen it, go and check it out. And it carries on. The aim of the standards check is to let you assess, because remember this is written for examiners, so it's talking to examiners. The aim of the standards check is to let you assess the ADI's ability to instruct and whether their instruction helps a person to learn in an effective way. The standards check will be conducted with you observing the ADI delivering a normal 1 hour lesson. That's the joke, isn't it? A normal 1 hour lesson, because of course it's going to be a normal lesson with an examiner sitting in the back. It's nothing like a normal lesson, we all know that. Anyway, the ADI is responsible for the standards check lesson. That means that they're not going to give you any direction. They won't say where to go. They're not going to give you a topic they want you to do. That's up to you. I'm going to be going into that in great detail later on. Very important you choose the correct topic, otherwise it all falls apart. They should make sure they have sound knowledge of the area around their chosen driving test centre, DTC, so they can plan their lesson, give appropriate directions to the people during the standards check. This is really important. You must know the area that you're teaching in. You can't turn up and say, I don't know where I'm going, or I don't know around here very well. It can happen. It actually happened to me when years ago I moved to Cornwall and they sent me a standards check just as I moved to Cornwall. So brilliant. I didn't even know the area at all. I had to come back to Birmingham and do it here. And it happened again. I've just moved home 4 weeks ago today and they sent me a standards check. I don't know what it is about when you move home. I don't know whether they pick up on that, whether they think, he's moving, we'll give him a standards check. But moving home certainly seems to trigger off a standards check. Anyway, probably just coincidence, but you never know. So you must know the area really well. You must know exactly where to go. You've got to know it like the back of your hand. If you don't know the area, you're going to be stuck, because if the people wants to go and try roundabouts and you don't know where the roundabouts are, well, you're stuck. I've done a separate video about what to do if you don't know the area, but quite simply, you can use a sat nav. You've only got to plan a simple route. It depends on your pupil, but I will have done a separate video about what to do if you don't know the area. Right, and so this is where we're really going to home in on the meaty stuff, the meaty topics, and show you how you can actually get the best from your standards check. So if you look at the next page or two, it gives you 4 different types of learner, and whatever learner you're taking, if they're a learner or a full licence holder or whatever, they'll fit into one of these 4 categories. There is the partly trained, inexperienced learner, experienced people about ready to take their practical driving test. Then there is the new full licence holder and the experienced full licence holder. So we're going to take some time to talk about each one of these, because this is really one of the main parts of this whole document. So that's a really important one. It doesn't matter if they don't achieve full understanding by the end of the lesson. You don't have to have completely finished every single topic or the topic you've chosen by the end of the lesson. If you say, for example, you're going to teach them how to turn left, and by the end of the lesson they can completely turn left on their own, fully, unguided, that's not realistic, is it? You don't have to finish the topic by any means. You must have just made some progress. It may well be that you do a topic and you don't even make much progress on it. You might just, for example, stay at the same level. That's fine, as long as you're doing everything you should be doing to make progress happen. So it says in the next paragraph, in the same way, pupils at this level should not feel they are being patronised or talked down to, as this will make them unreceptive. Now, it's quite ironic, it says they do not all learn in the same way. It just says, let's read that again. It says, pupils at this level should not feel they are being patronised or talked down to. They do not all learn in the same way. Isn't that patronising to say they do not all learn in the same way? It doesn't say pupils, just says they. So calling them they is a bit patronising. Anyway, consequently, there is no single correct way to transfer responsibility to them, and in any case, this is not going to take place instantly. That's what we just said. There is not one method that works. People who say, you've got to do this, and you've got to say this, and if you don't, you'll fail. It's rubbish. You can use any method you want. It could be any kind of tool. And it says the key thing that an ADI must demonstrate is that they understand the need to transfer ownership and make the effort to do so. Very important. You make the effort to do so. Doesn't matter if it doesn't happen. If the pupil doesn't get it, if they're not picking it up, and you're thinking, oh no, this is all going wrong because it's my standards check and they've got to pick it up, it's going to look bad on me. If the pupil doesn't make any progress whatsoever, doesn't matter at all if you are taking the correct steps. So as long as you're saying the right thing, doing the right thing, you're using an appropriate method that should be working but it's not, and then you change it, you try something else, that doesn't work, doesn't matter. You don't have to have taught the pupil something by the end. Ideally you would, in most cases you will. But at the end of the lesson, if you've done everything you possibly could and they're just not picking it up, that's not your fault. And it doesn't matter, because it can take a long time. When I've had pupils who have taken, believe it or not, 3 or 4 hours before they can even put the car into first gear. They just cannot even move the gear stick into 1 for like 3 or 4 hours. They just can't do it. Refusing to hear reasonable feedback about the ADI's own performance. If the pupil says, oh, I think you should have helped me more there, and you say, no, I shouldn't, I'm an instructor, I know what I'm doing, shut up, you're the pupil. They might have a good point. There's times when the people said to me, oh, next time, can you help me out a bit more there? And you think, oh, I didn't help him enough there. It's quite handy to be able to take criticism from a pupil, because I get it wrong, we all get it wrong. And if you say you don't, well, you're probably just missing all the mistakes you're making. There's 2 more, I think, to go over. Let's just check. 3 more. Were the pupil's queries followed up and answered? Direct questions or queries from the pupil should be dealt with as soon as possible. The response may involve providing information or directing the pupil to a suitable source. Again, you might say, go and read this book, go and look at that book, whatever. Go and watch my videos. That's what I do.